Chapter 33. I pulled my hair back. I was standing in front of the mirror in the manager's quarters, the afternoon traffic a dull rumbling in my ears. I glanced over to the kitchen. There was a banana on the table. I stared at it, at its bold yellow hue. I walked over and picked it up. My eyes searched the room. It was just me in the manager's quarters. Quickly, I peeled the banana and walked over to the mirror again. I held the banana peel up higher and higher until it reached my head, then carefully draped the banana peel over my jet black hair. Hesitantly, I looked into the mirror. The blonde me smiled back. I stared and stared, so mesmerized by the reflection that I completely did not hear the back door opening and my mom coming in. My mother shrieked when she saw me. "What the heck are you doing?" she cried, pointing at the banana peel hugging my hair, the stem on top of my head. I instantly wiped the smile off my face. I yanked the banana peel off my head and threw it into the trash. "Why?" my mother demanded. "Why would you put a banana peel on your head?" She fished the peel out of the trash and placed it on the kitchen table. There it lay, limp and mushy, proof of my embarrassing little experiment. "Well?" my mom asked, her arms folded. I was just trying something out," I said. "What were you trying out?" I said nothing. "Did something happen at school today?" she asked. I bit my lower lip. I could feel my chin quivering. My mother's face softened. "It's okay," she said. "You can tell me." The tears came gushing out before the words did. I ran into my mother's arms. I told her how I got a math question wrong and the other kids mocked me, saying I should have gotten it right because I'm Chinese. When my mother heard that, she removed her arms. A new look took over her face, a look I did not like at all. "They're right," she said. I took a step back, shaking my head. No, she's not really saying that. She can't possibly be siding with them. She can, and she was. "How can you get a math problem wrong? What were you thinking?" My dad came in to see what all the commotion was about. "What's going on?" "Your daughter just got a math question wrong at school. That's what's going on," she informed him. I was always your daughter when she wasn't happy with me, and my daughter when she was. I looked down at the floor. I heard my dad offer, "It's okay," to which my mother snapped, "No, it's not okay." She walked over, put her cold hands on my hot cheeks, and yelled, "Math's all we've got." That did it. "I don't even like math," I screamed back at her. "I like English." My mother's eyes widened. "English?" she exclaimed. I nodded. My heart thudded in my chest. 1 second passed, and then another, and then, softly, my mother breathed out, "A tornado." "You know what you are in English? You're a bicycle, and the other kids are cars." Chapter 34. That night, I sat at the stairwell in the back, thinking of something my uncle once said. He said that if you break a bowl, you can put all the pieces back together, but it will never be the same. Water will seep through the cracks. That's what it felt like when my mom called me a bike. Like our bowl shattered, it would never be whole again. Mrs. Q spotted me sitting on the stairwell and came over and sat down next to me. She asked me what was wrong. I shook my head. I didn't know how to tell her the worry swirling in my head. Number 1, my mom was horrible and mean. Number 2, she hated me. And number 3, what she said was true. At the thought of number 3, the tears welled in my eyes again. Mrs. Q pulled me into her arms. Between sobs, She got it out of me what happened. "Oh, honey," she said, rubbing my back, "sometimes adults say stupid things they don't mean." I rubbed my nose. "But she does mean it. She totally means it." I thought of all the times my mom had said my English was not as good, the white kids, and I cried even harder. My tears stained Mrs. Q's lovely new shirt, and Mrs. Q glanced down at the wet spot. "I'm sorry," I said. "It's okay," she said, smoothing out her shirt. "Nothing that can't be fixed with a good wash." She smiled at me. "Just like you and your mom." "No way," I said, shaking my head. I looked at Mrs. Q with utmost resolve. "The bowl is broken. There's no unbreaking it." "Easy now," Mrs. Q said. She put her hand over my hand. "I don't know about any bowls, but I do know your mom, and she loves you very much." There was a lump in my throat. Mrs. Q raised her soft blue eyes to my wet brown ones. "You know that, don't you?" she asked. "Then why is she always saying such mean things?" I asked. Mrs. Q thought about this for a while. "I don't know," she finally said. "Your mom's been working a lot lately. She's probably tired, stressed out. Heck, maybe this isn't even about you. Maybe this is about her. Maybe people have told her her English isn't good." I thought about that couple a while back who asked my mom to take a picture of them with their camera. "Still, doesn't make it okay what she said," I said, sniffling. "Of course not," she said. "It's a horrible thing to say." "Of course it is." "Even if the bowl's completely not broken, it's severely cracked," I told her. Mrs. Q chuckled. "Well, you'll just have to put some tape around it," she said. A tiny smile escaped. I hugged Mrs. Q and thanked her. I was starting to feel a little bit better about number 1 and number 2 on my list, but not number 3. Number 3 I carried with me into my sleep, dreaming about the essay contest and how I could possibly win if I was only a bike. That Sunday, my dad fought my mother for the chance to take me out. As usual, we loaded up the car with empty cans. We went to the recycling center. Then after that, instead of exchanging for pennies and going to the lake, my dad made an unexpected turn into a shopping center. My dad hates shopping. What's going on? "Where are we going?" I asked him. "You'll see," he said, getting out of the car. He pressed open the door to a stationery shop. The store was called Scribbles, and I could tell it was fancy just from the way it smelled. It smelled like expensive air freshener, the kind I always wanted to get for our front office, but couldn't because it was too expensive. Row upon row of pencils adorned the shelves. I picked one of them up and nearly fainted when I saw the price. $5.99? I tugged my dad's elbow. "Let's go home," I said. "Just a second," he said. Before I could even realize what was happening, he took one of the $5.99 pencils and told the cashier to ring it up. "Dad, what are you doing?" I asked him. He ignored me and handed the cashier $6, the entirety of our recycling money that day. I watched the whole thing unfold with my mouth open. Outside the shop, my dad kneeled down so that he was my level. "You're not a bicycle," he said. My eyes searched his. "Do you understand?" he asked. He reached down, took my small hand, and opened it. He put the new expensive pencil in it. I gazed down at the pencil. Its shiny green sparkles glistened in the light. I couldn't believe my eyes that something so beautiful could sit in my hands. "Dad, this is way too nice," I said, giving him a hug. "I'm never even going to use it. I'm just going to look at it." My dad laughed. "Oh, I hope you use it. You're a fine story writer," he said. I shook my head. "Not in English," I said in a small voice. "In English too," he insisted. "I've read your English." I wanted to chuckle because how would he know? If my English was 12 exclamation marks bad, his had to be at least 50. Still, his words made me feel warm and toasty, and I tucked them into my pocket. Use this to write down everything that happens, he said. Who knows, maybe someday it'll all seem funny to you. Maybe. I nodded and smiled, holding my brand new pencil up to the sun. Shopping to buy that pencil. So now I want you to continue your reading for today, and then add to the discussion. Read chapters 35 and 36 independently. Stop when you get to finish page 159. Then add it to the discussion.